Good evening. After the closure of the illegal radio station Radio Nova by the Department of Posts and Telegraphs, Nova seeks a High Court injunction which would allow it back on the air. The B&I line issues protective notice to 300 workers employed in its freight section. It's because of a dispute in Dublin Port, which the company says has cost B&I £1 million already. In the Dáil, tributes are paid by all the party leaders to Mr. Frank Aiken, who has died aged 85. In the north, the DUP and the official unionists debate an arrangement on fielding agreed candidates in the British general election. The illegal stations Radio Nova and Kiss FM have been closed down by the Department of Posts and Telegraphs. Department officials seized transmitting equipment on foot of a warrant under Section 8 of the Wireless Telegraphy Act, following complaints of interference by many of the essential rescue services. Nova Media Services Limited have been given permission to seek an injunction against the Minister for Posts and Telegraphs to put the stations back on the air. They say they intend to challenge the Act. The hearing has been fixed for Thursday week. Mary Fanning reports.
At 9:30 this morning, officials from the Department of Posts and Telegraphs called to the Nova studios at 19 Harbour Street and requested the keys to the transmitter base in Rathfarnham. Nova's managing director, Chris Carey, claimed he cooperated fully, but said he had no formal notification of the warrant. Nova claimed they pulled the plug here themselves this morning when they were told by their city studios that a warrant had been issued for the seizure of equipment. They claim that equipment is worth in the region of £1 million. It includes this new mast here and a 50 kilowatt transmitter which was due to be put into operation shortly. Both those new units would have greatly increased their range. This action was promised by the Minister for Posts and Telegraphs, Mr Mitchell, during question time at the Dáil on April 26. There were no attempts to interfere with the seizure in Rathfarnham today, but Gardaí were on duty at the scene. A department spokesman said prosecution would follow and similar action would be taken with other illegal stations shortly. The maximum fine under the present legislation is £50 for a first offence and £100 for a second and subsequent offences. Nova claimed that 60 full-time employees will lose their jobs because of the sudden closure. The director, Mr Carey, said he would have been willing to close Nova if he had been given formal notification by the P&T and adequate time to wind up operations in a professional manner.
A dispute held in Dublin city centre this evening in support of the illegal station Radio Nova. A cavalcade of cars sounded their horns in the Bagot Street area. Gardaí say up to 1,000 people took part. Nova, which had recommenced broadcasting early this morning following a post office raid yesterday, stopped indefinitely at 6 o'clock. Earlier, engineers from the Department of Posts and Telegraphs seized equipment from Sunshine Radio at Portmarnock in County Dublin. Another illegal Dublin station, Radio Leinster, went off the air voluntarily. The Minister of State for Broadcasting, Mr Ted Neelan, said the government had now made the point about illegal broadcasters using the airwaves. In the Dáil, the Taoiseach said the bill to deal with independent broadcasting was likely to come before government in the immediate future. With the details of the Sunshine Radio closure, here's Michael Fisher.
Post Office engineers moved in shortly before 10 o'clock this morning. They served a warrant to seize the broadcasting equipment under the Wireless Telegraphy Acts. The Sunshine staff say everything was done in a businesslike and peaceful manner.
3 modern transmitters and 2 older type ones, along with some smaller technical items, were taken from the storage cabin alongside the hotel building. The station said the equipment was worth around £45,000 in all. The station's general manager, Robbie Robinson, said 43 people would be put out of work by the move. The Department of Posts and Telegraphs say Sunshine had been causing interference to radio and television reception in North Dublin. The spokesman said there were also several cases of interference at Dublin Airport to frequencies used by aircraft and emergency services as well as military radar control. The company secretary, Pádraig Mullins, described the allegations as unfounded. Sunshine was not directly at fault, he said, and they had an independent engineer's report to prove their case. They would be pursuing the matter in the courts. While the engineers worked away at Sunshine Radio, 2 illegal stations went off the air in Cork, but the Department of Posts and Telegraphs said they had not carried out any raids on illegal broadcasting organisations there. It's thought the Cork station stopped broadcasting because they believed they were going to be rated in a similar manner to Sunshine and Radio Nova. Nova went off the air indefinitely at 6.